Why are there so many podcasts about Tottenham? Do I want to know why? They might contain insight, but mostly delusions. If I hear one more, I might die. They don't like Levy and they don't like Enoch. They pine for Moo and Conte. Someday we'll like 'em, old Tottenham Hotspur, the podcast Clout Chasers and me.
Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur, the Tottenham Hotspur podcast about Tottenham Hotspur podcasts. I'm your host, Iain Sawyer, and today I'm joined by a fellow Spurs podcaster, and more importantly, a good friend, Mike Steenstra of the Rooster And The Villain podcast. So for folks who don't know Mike, he's a bit of a football polymath. He's a podcaster through the Rooster And The Villain show, which has the Prem show, the Merrill and Bobcast, the interview series that he does. He's an event organizer. He's a writer for Beyond the 90. He's a super fan and just a general lover of elite, international, and especially US pro and semi-pro soccer. Hi, Mike. How are you doing today? Thanks for coming on.
You know, I've never heard it laid out there, everything I've done in soccer, but that is kind of crazy. That's, I've been doing it casually, really. I was a former NBA reporter, which is kind of a bit of a joke because I worked for a Japanese basketball magazine, covered NBA in person, Wizards for 8 to 10 years. So I loved basketball. 2010 World Cup came around, South Africa, last minute goal, Landon Donovan. And I started to be like, oh, wow, soccer's pretty cool. Like, you know, there's nothing like a late winner. But then took me a couple more years. I'd say when U.S. missed the World Cup in 2018, I was like, I still want to watch soccer because I had only followed U.S. national team for a bit. So then I just I had a friend that was a Tottenham fan, and he, you know, kind of coached me to become a Tottenham fan. He was sending me clips of Harry Kane and posting whenever they were scoring and in Champions League and all that good stuff. He's a huge Pochettino guy, but he was kind of getting me into the game.
That's kind of what we do, right? Spurs fans recruit other people into being Spurs fans. We never tell them how bad it is. We always lay out the good stuff, you know, like, oh man, look at this Harry Kane kid, or hey, look, we just won a trophy. It's never the abject misery that we're suffering for years in between.
Yeah, because there's really just so much joy in watching soccer. It's what I am an absolute proselytizer for the game in the United States, just because of where it's at in terms of, you know, top leagues and the growth that we're seeing since '94, and then the World Cup coming up in 2026. Yeah, soccer is special, and the joy of watching Spurs Champions League runs. Like I've been a fan since 2019. I came in. Moussa Dembele was his last half season before he was sold to China. But I remember, you know, really enjoying him early on. But now I'm rambling. So if you got a question on that.
Nothing more than just, isn't it crazy to look back? It's been 6 years so quickly.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when you chat to you've been desperate for like a trophy, even more so than longtime Spurs fans. I swear you've wanted the trophy more than my dad does. And
yeah, we were spoiled. I think the people that came in around 2019, Pochettino had us rolling Champions League every single year. You know, top of the table, top four was not an issue for a long time. So the people that came in my era, yeah, we got really spoiled there under Harry Kane. So I don't know, it just felt, you know, we saw the Champions League final loss. So it just felt like so attainable for a little bit there. Then it got a little bit further away until it wasn't.
I did feel so bad for you with the Europa League final because you put so much effort into creating like our local supporters group, Montgomery County Spurs, with Jeff. You've been on the board for the last year. and then get to the last minute, and then that baby had to come early,
Yeah, that's a whole other side story. Yeah, we had a baby, a premature baby about 5-6 weeks early, and she came on the Europa League final day. I didn't think she would. I thought I had some extra time, and thought I was going to make the final, but I did get to watch. My wife. Yeah, actually, that timeline is not quite. The baby came before the Europa League final. We were just getting out of the hospital. It was the day she came home. That's right. Yeah. Sorry, it's a whirlwind, but
yeah. Well, she's a good luck charm.
Yeah. So let's talk about Moco Spurs, if you don't mind, a little bit.
I was going to ask you to reflect on it because I haven't really had a chance to chat to any of the departing board members. So sadly, Mike, as he just said, has an expanding family and less time for running an official supporters club.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel so. The origins of the Moco Spurs were really through Twitter. Jeff had created this handle at Moco Spurs, which didn't really exist in any capacity other than this Twitter account. And I was on Twitter with Rooster and the Villain at Rooster Villain, and we just always interacted. I said, "Hey, do you actually have a supporters group in Montgomery County?" He's like, "No." But we were like, "Oh, we should go watch a game sometime together." So ended up working out with Saints Row. And then you were one of the early ones. So Jeff, we had just a couple random watch parties. Weren't hyping him up much at all, except on Reddit.
Which did really well. I can't believe how many people we've recruited from Reddit. I've got to do it again this year.
Yeah, it's kind of a gold mine.
Yeah.
Most people came through Reddit, definitely. And but once you guys started coming, and then obviously we just kind of started it and didn't really organize much at all or anything. But when you came in as the board this past year and put structure to everything, that's when the growth really exploded. Montgomery's, how many strong are we at Montgomery Spurs now?
Man, I don't know. We're reaching several hundred people, which is pretty cool. Like
several hundred?
It's got to be because our email list is just hit 100. We have Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook. I think we're hitting about 100, several hundred. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because we had such a nice thing that first year too, because it was just about like 8 to 10 of us. Someone would bring some breakfast, real chill, all Spurs fans going crazy.
You could sit down, unlike nowadays. Yep.
Yeah, you could sit down. Yeah, always a seat. Yeah, just very casual vibes. But then, what was the first big game? Would you say? I guess.
Oh. I always remember Manchester United at the start of our second season and thinking, wow, there's something's happening here. Because the very first season, it was a little more, like a little more sparse. Games were happening. Like you weren't really sure if people were showing up for the game or not, like in any kind of intentional, consistent way.
Right.
But then Manchester United, I think we had something like 25.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
There were a couple United fans there too, weren't there?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I think there was like a small table of United fans, and because I mean the whole starting to watch at Saints thing had been birthed out of this thing I was starting called the Footy Club, which I was just trying to get people to watch games at Saints. But then, Moco Spurs just started kind of building, and the momentum kept going. It's just, it's incredible. It's incredible
to have 100 people in the bar at the end of May. And every time I speak to Tony, it goes up by 10 people. I think we're up to like 160 when I speak to Tony.
That's I mean, he's getting another TV in there, but the truth is we're growing really quick. We're like, we need a TV outside next. There's also a room upstairs.
We've talked about that. We've talked about the outside. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm getting grandiose because we just won the Europa League final, and that the party. I am sad to miss that party. Circling back to that.
Yeah,
it had to be sweet to watch.
That was special. We just hosted a documentary screening as well. Max had the idea, one of the new board members, to screen the winners Europa League documentary, and we still got about 12, 13 people just coming out on a Sunday for a 45-minute documentary that they could watch for free.
Yeah, that's awesome. Max is such a good addition to the board.
Yeah, please have Max on. He's been great. A lot of energy, loads of ideas, and it's just channeling that. He brought in Lawrence too, which was pretty cool. Like, managed to press gang his friend into joining the board.
Yeah,
that's what Jeff did to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Max has been great. Marcus has been helping on. I can't talk about it because it's a little bit secret. I'll tell you what it is after we finish recording. But
Okay.
there's something very special that we've got in the works. So yeah, the new board has been terrific.
Marcus is a fun addition too. I've talked to him a couple times. He's just a nice older guy that loves Spurs. So
yeah, so they're all excited. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
happy. I'm happy to have the people come in. You know, like the first board was great. Loved it, and I'm glad that there's a different energy.
Yeah, it was needed.
Yeah, well, the first board kind of, I think it really benefited from us being friends.
Right.
Like we knew we could count on each other for that reason, but there was a certain amount of like, how much do we really need this in our lives right now?
I mean, I think the most important thing early on was just that some people showed up in case others showed up. Yep. So that's kind of what we strove for, is just to be there last year.
Yeah. So we're looking at pickup soccer next year. That should be fun. Maybe run a couple games. A few more events which don't involve like watching a game. I personally would love to do a trivia night. I think that would be great.
Yeah. Tottenham trivia sounds fantastic. I'm in. I'm in for what I'm able to squeeze in here.
Yeah, exactly. I think Tottenham trivia around Christmas time will be great if we can get that to work. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but it's just so all consuming. Like, I don't know about you, but between like the podcasts and Moco Spurs, it just seems to be I have this constant like brainworm for thinking about Spurs constantly. In some way, shape, or form. It's kind of life affirming and also life draining at the same time. It's nice to feel like you're part of this bigger thing.
I feel like every fifth word out of my mouth is soccer, and I'm driving the girls in my family absolutely nuts. But it is all consuming, but it's a hobby,
So I'm interested to talk about the World Cup pop-up a little bit.
Okay.
That was I was looking back at some Instagram pictures that you posted from the World Cup in what would that be, 2022?
2022,
Qatar.
Yep.
And just to build up something from the ground and to bring in all of those people and all those different sort of vendors and venues, and I think you had like a pickup guy there as well as was it Abraham? Abe?
Yeah, Abe Navarro. I did a podcast with him, an episode with him. That's fantastic. Great guy. I don't know what I was thinking, Ian. I don't know what I was thinking to try to do it. I have this dream of working in soccer. Like that's actively a dream of mine. But I had no soccer experience at all. So I was like, what can I do? So I came up with this idea of an event, the World Cup pop-up. I had this like vague concept that I wanted people there to play soccer and drink beer and hang out, but it had no like real legs for a bit. There was a point where I was talking to the city of Rockville to put up a screen in their downtown area and come out and watch. But the problem the whole time was that it was a winter tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So November, December. So we couldn't guarantee weather. So then eventually it landed this indoor facility. They're pretty cool. They're called SoFi Soccer Centers. They've got like 9 or 10 locations around the country. They have 6 5v5 fields inside, and then they have like a bar area with coffee. So it was about August, and I just had a contract in my hand, which I was like, I don't know what I'm doing at all here, but read through it, signed it, gave away some money, and thinking at that point naively that I would maybe have a chance at breaking even. But I just went for it, and for a while it's just like I was DMing everybody, messaging everybody, constantly every single day, like trying to build Instagram in like 2 months to try to get it done. And I
Man,
had
that's
these
such a short
grandiose,
amount of time. Sorry to cut you off, but that's
yeah,
like 2 months ahead of that's so impressive that you got anybody in. Like when you look back on it, like I think about Boko Spurs, and it took us 2-3 years to get
yeah.
to a point of having good numbers consistently.
The truth is, the England US game was lit in there. There was like, you know, I didn't actually count the crowd in there, but I would have guessed there was like 200,
That's
which,
amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
And the best part was, it was like a youth coach had reached out to me and asked for all these, tickets to come, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And they just brought in a girls team of like 20, and they played pickup the whole time while the games were going on the big screen. And it was like the vision, was completed, and I was happy that day. But I had definitely grandiose ideas. Like I thought people were gonna, World Cup event. I had a lot of things going on with pickup, but and it was the whole tournament. So really midweek was pretty empty. US games did okay, and then actually really everything else, US games were the only ones that drew. But
I mean, which makes sense, right? It's a tough sell because
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
other people they're either going to go to the embassy around here, and because we're near Washington D.C., or it's
It was
just not
also
part of the habit.
Thanksgiving week, which was kind
Yeah.
of weird too. But what saved me and my spirits there was really Abe Navarro, who has this pickup run out in Baltimore, but he gets like 110, 120 ballers out there, high quality kids. And he had a group that would just come and watch games every single day. They'd watch a game, then play pickup in between, then watch a game, then come play pickup in between. It was only like 10 or 12 people there, but that kept the vibe alive. And I played a bunch of pickup that week, and yeah, it was fun. I kind of definitely ate my shirt a little bit in the end, but looking back, it was definitely a fun experience. I'm glad that I went for it.
Are you thinking about anything next year?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I haven't really. I would like to go to a game or two next year. So that's kind of where my head's at. If it, yeah, I don't know if I'm done with the soccer business in general. I might be, but we'll see. I like podcasting for now, so we'll keep doing that.
Yeah, and keep your hand in the game. I don't know. I've been thinking about it with Moco Spurs because we have, this distribution network for several hundred people who are used to watching games together. But I'm thinking, Saints is great, love it, but you could expect a few more people, especially if you targeted like England games and like US games. Like if you just went for a couple of big ones and just made it this,
Yeah,
like a stripped down event. Like sure, there's people together, but we're not going to do the
definitely.
pickup. I think that would work.
I mean, we played U.S. women games for the World Cup, and they killed at Saints. There was people
Yeah.
inside and outside, but I always hated like using Moco Spurs for any sort of money making or using your list at least. But
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was just get the people together to create the community and give us something to do in the
yeah,
off season,
yeah,
I think it's okay.
yeah, it's all about just get. I mean, I say I went in to make money, but no, it was really like an event that I wanted people to gather and love soccer. That's because I love the game so much. I never thought when I picked it up in 2019 that I would fall head over heels in love with all things soccer.
You really did from like nose to tail, and that brings me on to a question I had about the interview series, which is, do you think that you would have been in a better place to have run the World Cup pop-up if you had done the interview series first? Because you've spoken to people behind the scenes at big clubs, Abe you knew from the pop-up, but ticketing, sports reporters, players. I just feel like there's this huge amount of knowledge that's in your interview series. It's quite incredible, really.
Sometimes I'm worried it goes in one ear and out the other for me, and then I'm just releasing the content into the atmosphere. But no, I yeah, I don't know how that all happened. Honestly, the podcast started originally in 2019. I told my friend that's a Tottenham fan and my friend that was a United fan that I was interested in starting a podcast, and the premise was to learn about the game. So I was going to ask all naive questions on the way up. And so it was my friend Brad Tyndall, he was the Rooster, and then Jimmy was the Devil. It eventually turned into Rooster and the Villain because Jimmy turncoated on United when the Glazers did the whole Super League thing and switched to Villa. But that's how the podcast started. And then something happened. It was really COVID. So COVID, all live soccer stopped. So then at that point I had tried like an interview or two really early on. And then we got a connection. Some guy from Wake Forest liked what we were doing on Twitter and DM'd me. He's like, hey, I can get you a bunch of players to interview. So then all of a sudden we're interviewing a lot of USL players. And I had barely heard of the league. So if I listened back to those interviews now, I think I would cringe because I knew so little talking to the players that play in the league. But that's beside the point. So then we were interviewing MLS players for like a little chunk. And then it migrated, I found out about the Maryland Bobcats, who are our local team. And then the podcast shifted that way.
I'm just going to mark 21 minutes until you mention the Maryland Bobcats. So I think that might be a record for you.
Well, it's a shame. It's a shame because they essentially folded their pro club, so they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, my girls are like, when we go into a Bobcats game? I'm like, sorry,
same
girls.
As my daughter. She went like 3 times, and she's obsessed with them. She's obsessed with them. Like Darwin Espinal is her favorite player because she has a card for him.
Yeah, he's a great player too. He's still playing Richmond Kickers. There was something about a real grass field stadium in the middle of nowhere, Maryland, that is appealing to me. Yeah.
Being away from civilization.
Yeah.
I do. If anybody's listening into this and is interested in this, I really would recommend, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes and in the Blue Sky link, listen to Mike's interview series, because if you want a heads up on what like soccer in the US looks like outside of the MLS, outside of like the big stadia and everything that's happening, and you want to compare it back to like 1994, I think that like what you've put together is a really cool little piece of it's like a snapshot in time.
Yeah, what's interesting about the country is a couple things. It's massive for one, so people that aren't from America don't realize that how geographically large it is and how long it takes to travel from East Coast to West Coast. So you have that massive land, but the pyramid is so weird. It's not.
Do you want to talk about that for a second? Do you want to explain the?
I would love to. I don't know who cares.
For me, for as much as anybody else, because I have a vague sense of USL and then I get lost.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm always happy to talk someone's ear off about it. So you have MLS, they're tier 1. So that's our Premier League. Then you have USL Championship, that's our second tier. Then you have USL League 1 in the third tier, but you also have MLS Next Pro and NISA all in one tier. It's all different companies, different entities along the pyramid. There's no central federation at all. It's very, yeah.
And then USL 2 and also like the League of, what's the name of it? League of Nations? I forget the name of it.
Fourth tier is my favorite tier of American soccer. The major players are UPSL, which is more adult amateur players, NPSL, which is adult amateurs, and then some college kids. And then USL League 2 are basically college kids in their off season.
There we go. And
then you have some other players in that tier 4 space. League for Clubs is one of them that's a little bit bigger. And then there's so many tier 4 clubs in the country. It's got to be in the thousands of. And if you're looking for local soccer, Google your town UPSL, and there's probably a UPSL squad in your town.
There has to be so many leagues just because of the travel time, right? You need it to be quite regionalized. I'd imagine. I think that I think you touched on that in your interview with the guy from Boise.
Yeah, so that's the problem with the second tier and third tier in America in general is they don't make money. if you want to be, it's a passion project, at least up until this point. It has been a passion project for people that have enough cash to burn, because the bottom line is Americans like soccer on TV. They like it in the morning for Premier Leagues, but they don't go out and watch the game, buy tickets, buy merch. It's just not supported like that in this country.
I don't think it's barely supported in the UK when you think about it. The number of clubs who are going into bankruptcy or
Yeah. I mean, parachute payments are the only way it works, right?
yeah, pretty much. It seems to be. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of it, like investment and wonderful stories like you see with Wrexham. I say wonderful.
Yeah.
It's all like eye of the beholder, right? Whether that's wonderful or not. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's why the American system is so messed up, though, because MLS at the top, there's no promotion relegation, completely closed. There's no money flowing down. United Soccer League, who has a 4th, 3rd, and 2nd tier division, are choked out by that barrier. But the U.S. Soccer Federation is currently working with USL to get a new Tier 1 league that's on the same level as MLS. So they'll have all 4 tiers and have promised to give us promotion relegation for the first time in the country. And USL has been around about 25 years and has their shit together. They're a very well-organized central office. It's very exciting what's happening in USL. I don't think it'll rival MLS, but I think will allow them to spend a lot and have a very competitive Tier 1 where you just get more opportunities for American kids to be professional and for the game to grow.
Yeah,
So,
and people to go see a game too.
Yes, correct.
What would be an example of a top tier USL team?
So top tier USL teams, you have like Charleston Battery, so Charleston, North Carolina. Great little stadium called I think it's Patriots Point. They're all little, like, 8 to 10,000 seater stadiums. A lot of them have soccer specific stadiums at this point,
which is very cool, and I think it should be emphasized, right? Like that's no joke. A lot of the time you see it's like sharing with other spaces. You see the football field, as the NFL gridiron paint is already on the field. Like that's to be able to support its own stadium is very cool, and I think that's what Boise were building, right? Their own dedicated stadium.
That's a cool project. They're turning an old horse track into a soccer stadium and keeping the original grandstands. But other big championship squads, you have San Antonio FC, New Mexico United. You got Jake's El Paso Locomotive, arguably a small club. Sorry, Jake.
He's not here to defend them, so get your kicks in while you can.
Detroit City FC is one of the better stories in the country. They converted this old high school stadium into a soccer stadium and packed that place out. They get like 10,000 fans going crazy. And then, they had an Open Cup game, which is our version of the FA Cup.
It should be our version of the FA Cup.
It should, yeah. It's a bastardized version now. But, they beat Columbus Crew at home in front of that crowd, and it was just, it was rocking. So,
I mean, 10,000 is a lot of people.
It is. Yeah, it is. The place probably fits 9 too, so it was a wild show.
So speaking of 10,000 people, you've picked up the Annapolis Blues as your local Maryland team now.
I have. Yeah, I have. I think I would sell them out for a closer team if one came up.
It's a bit of a drive. It's probably a bit nicer than driving to Germantown, location-wise, right?
I don't know.
No,
I still have to take 495 for a second, and then 97. So it's not a great drive. Yeah. It's right off the highway though in Annapolis, so that helps. So it's about 50 minutes door to door. Soccerplex is about 35-40.
Yeah, that's true. It's also I was thinking this is a nicer place, like Annapolis.
The Blues are. It's incredible. It's incredible how many fans they're getting. I think they had like 12,000 for their opener, and yeah, it's hard to describe that.
12,000 is half of what DC United gets on a good day, right? Like it's probably closer to the actual numbers when you look at the empty seats in their stadium
The truth,
Audi
it's
Field.
a true professional atmosphere. You go in, there's a concourse. It feels like you're at a professional game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and they have the tailgate open for several hours before the game, so people are setting up tents. Kids are playing soccer. Dads are drinking beer.
I mean, that was always the thing about the Bobcats. Like, it was nice to go, but things like having to step out of the grounds and check your ticket and stuff to get food, if there was food.
I mean, do you want a tangent on why? Yeah, I can have a tangent on Marine Hendricks Field out in Germantown. If I don't know if anybody cares at all, though.
I mean, if anybody's listening at this point, then this is all part of the experience.
I hope I don't just alienate your fan base because I'm just talking random. Right
As I
now.
said to you before we started recording, this is like the only way that middle-aged men get to talk, you know. So
True. All right. So Marine Hendricks Stadium out in Germantown, Maryland, has about 5,000 people capacity. Beautiful grass field facility. Hard to fathom how beautiful it is out in the farm country of Maryland. Built by public funds, but under Soccerplex ownership. And somehow it's a national park area as well too. So there's some like federal laws that prevent you from tailgating in that parking lot. But I also think I don't think Soccerplex advocates for a pro team to exist in this stadium just because of how much money they make in youth soccer. They have something like 30 fields there on a weekend, and if you go there, I don't even know how many thousands of people are at the Soccerplex in Maryland at that point. But
it's a sight to behold to be driving through there to get to a field and to see all these games happening.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And yeah, kids on kids on kids on kids. And yeah, so I don't think the Soccerplex they don't care whether there's a pro team there or not. So they're not going to bend over backwards to like loosen rules. But it was a publicly funded stadium a little bit. So that does piss me off. It's basically the thesis there.
I mean, that's every stadium in the US, though, right? They're all some way public funded. I mean, to different degrees.
Yeah, but the public should get something out of that, at least like a team.
I think a team would be nice. A team would be nice, but I think they'll look at the experience of the Bobcats and maybe that will turn them off for now.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, they won their league, but it was such a shit show in the end.
Yeah, it was a shit show.
Which is a
Bobcats,
shame.
R.I.P.
Yeah, they did. They were good.
But the Blues, yeah, come to the Blues this summer if you're. They don't have many games left. The women's team is awesome. I think they're undefeated, first in the division, and they have a playoff game coming up. So there's no reason not to make the drive. It's not such a bad drive, and you just chill, get the kids excited about soccer, watch a game. It's awesome. Love it.
I'm always behind the times. By the time I actually get to them, they'll be closing down, and it'll be me, the Grim Reaper of lower league Maryland soccer. You know?
that's everybody though. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that cares as much as anybody.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Crazy, I don't know if it's impressive. I don't know.
You're not thinking of creating a Maryland Bobcast equivalent for the Annapolis Blues, or do they have something? Do they have?
There's something out there. Yeah. I haven't. I wish I could shout it out right now because
I should explain for everybody listening. Mike did a podcast about the Maryland Bobcats, the local team here closest to where we live.
Yep, the Bobcast. That's a great intro. I'm very proud of the intro to that podcast. So if you want to listen to anything, listen to the first 30 seconds of a Bobcast. But yeah, it's great. We had inside information into what the club is doing. And the Bobcats were a great story. People loved the Bobcats on the internet. And they weren't drawing, more than 1,100 fans, I'd say, on a great night. Typical, we're talking 600, which is sad. But it is out in the middle of nowhere too. That's the problem with the Soccerplex.
Yeah, it is. So Annapolis Blues has a few podcasts. It has content creators. It must do with 10, 12.
Yeah, I think they have a supporters group called the Bay Boys, which originated out of the DC United supporter group.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, so they've got a podcast going, and they've also got their ownership group is so impressive. They've got Dave Johnson, he's one of the play-by-play guys for the Wizards typically.
Yeah.
But he also does a radio segment about the Blues on the radio, even part of the ownership group. And then Kyle Beckerman, who is USMNT fame, and then a bunch of the DC United front office guys are also involved in that project. And then Michael Hitchcock, who is kind of like, if you want to fall down a rabbit hole of lower league U.S. soccer, just Google Michael Hitchcock soccer, and it's a treasure trove of information. But he's involved in the project as well.
It sounds like you might have a new interview to try to secure.
I would love to get him, but he has been giving them lately. I have noticed that, but I'm almost scared to talk to him. Honestly, he's like the Godfather. But it would be fine. It'd be fine. I'd love to get him on.
Well, it seems like they're in the ascendancy, so I think it's a good time to be talking about them.
Yeah, I think I would be surprised if League One, USL League One, doesn't try to get them to turn pro. But for them, it doesn't make much sense financially because they're making money in the fourth tier, primarily because you don't pay your players. But
that's one way to do it. Yeah. So
that's why the fourth tier exists. Unfortunately,
that's the college football system. Just don't pay them.
Those willing adults that still love the game and want to give it a go.
Well, performing in front of 10, 12,000 people.
Yeah,
that's epic. A thrill. Yeah,
epic. Yeah. I did an interview series one with Jimmy Filerman, who was a Bobcat, but then played on Virginia Dream. And the Dream last year went into Annapolis and then won. I think it was a playoff game on the road, but there's like 12,000 people there, and he's talking about playing in front of that crowd and like how hyped up you get. And yeah, that's not an experience that many people get in this country.
I mean, how many people could they fit into Bodo Glimt Stadium when Spurs played them?
Yeah, it wasn't much more. It's got to be smaller than Navy Stadium.
Yeah, I think so. Or even, thinking back, what was the game we played, like Marine a few years back?
Yeah, I'd say Soccerplex looked about as big as Marine.
Yeah,
Marine.
Yeah, it's comparable, and I think people overlook the love for soccer around here. I mean, obviously you get a lot of immigrant populations who come in with their own soccer cultures, but I feel like it's overlooked in general, like how much love there is beyond being what's the term you guys use on the Prem show? It's Euro snobs, right?
Euro snobs. Yep. Yeah. Do you know what a Euro snob is?
Yeah, people who only watch Barcelona or Real Madrid or other trophy-winning teams like Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, yeah.
We've got one season to be able to say this.
Yeah. And also in respects to the national team, we prefer European-only players.
So it's
what's interesting is Pochettino is really, really pulling from MLS, which, it's a big market. It makes sense to pull from there.
But is he doing that just because of the Gold Cup and he's resting his guys?
Yeah, that's part of it. But I do think he is falling in love with more MLS players than our previous coach, Greg Berhalter, was, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Berhalter's son's in the team, right?
Well, he just skied a penalty kick last night. Skied it.
Well, then they missed one, right? Wasn't that what happened?
Matt Freese, who was an MLS goalkeeper, way better than Matt Turner ever will be, saved 3 penalty kicks.
There we go.
In that. Yeah, he was balling out. Costa Rica traditionally is actually pretty good if you don't know CONCACAF. Yeah,
it is. There is dense CONCACAF law that when you come over and start paying half attention to the US men's national team and you start finding out about the referees and the teams, and it's overwhelming.
It's a slog.
You can't understand why the US aren't walking every game that they play. But then you start hearing these stories about like the insanity that happens and it starts to make sense.
All I can say is Honduras away and El Salvador away are really, really hard places to play. I think anybody in the world would struggle. It's like muddy field. There's no homes, no away support at all. So the full stadium is like ravenous for their national team. Yeah, Honduras especially. The field is always like moist. Like if you stepped on it, it would make noise. And by the end of the game, it's pure mud.
That's
But,
incredible.
yeah.
Because Guatemala tomorrow, right?
Guatemala Wednesday
Yeah.
at 7. Yep. Should be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see if Tony's still talking to us. The owner,
Yeah,
the owner of the bar where we watch Moco Spurs.
Yep. He's Guatemalan. He's a soccer fan now, casually, but he wasn't when we first started Montgomery Spurs.
I don't think, no disrespect to Tony, but I feel like the journey of being there with us through Moco Spurs, and let's not overlook the 100+ people we pulled into his bar on a quiet Wednesday in May.
Well, yeah.
I think that helps a lot.
Helpful.
But he's becoming a pretty good Spurs fan, I think.
Oh, he definitely is a Spurs fan now.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think so. I love him on Instagram where he's just like yelling at people in comments underneath posts he's made or somebody else has made about us, and he's like arguing with trolls. I'm like, Tony, just leave it.
he went to a few Bobcats games last year and was very vocal in the crowd there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love that about Moco Spurs, like the new fans we've created.
Yeah. They're Tommy's one of them. My good buddy. He's now a Spurs fan.
Yeah,
he has a hard time admitting it, but he comes to most games. He
comes to a lot. He does. And I love it when he brings his daughter, because like there's that family vibe, especially for those of us with kids. It's I think that helps a lot, and it helps differentiate us from some of the other local supporters clubs.
Yep. I mean, Moco Spurs is for the kids. Bring the kids, bring the whole family out, and you'll be welcome to cheer on the team together.
Kids, dogs, whatever you got, we'll take them.
Yep. Maybe even pigs like Jake on our podcast. But
yeah, it's been good. I mean, hopefully we'll see good numbers for the Super Cup.
Why not? I mean, that's a major trophy chance. I think it's a major trophy, right? Would people say that was?
Depends if we win it.
Yeah. It would be awesome to win it. Crazy off season though. We win the Europa. Ainge gets fired.
Thanks for looking back to it. Yeah, I was gonna try to close out with Spurs stuff. So that's perfect segue. That's your innate podcaster.
It's been I think we got like 220 episodes out there. If you want to go back, if you go back to the first episode, you can hear me gradually get obsessed with soccer throughout the podcast. And we also cussed a lot more early on. I don't even know what's on those early episodes. I'm afraid to listen to them myself, but
you should do like some of the Spurs podcasts and just delete them. There are some who their back catalog is entirely inaccessible. For that reason, I think.
Do we have time to talk about Tottenham Hotspur as well?
Yeah, we can if you want to. I mean, it's So a lot of people will be very happy that it's now a Spurs podcast about a Spurs podcast about the Spurs podcast about Spurs podcasts.
I don't know. I mean, it speaks to what we were talking about pre-recording, is that there's just so many podcasts.
Yeah. That
you literally have a podcast about other podcasts, and it's doing quite well.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think you get out what you put in.
Correct.
Yeah, I put a lot of work in behind the scenes, trying to take notes and organize my thoughts and elevate the content beyond just reporting on what people have said. At least I think I try to.
No, you absolutely do. It's like you were made for podcasting. I've been a wannabe for a long time, but your voice is so smooth and you're very structured. I like what you're doing, man. It's
well, thank you. It's funny, the smooth voice is interesting because as a kid I went through speech therapy and stuff, so I had sort of trouble enunciating things. Maybe it comes from that. My mum always called me Mumbles, or like she would refer to me like Muttley from Dick Dastardly and Wacky Races. The way he would kind of snigger and mumble like I did just then.
I never would have pegged you as having that at all. Definitely not.
I think my accent changed since I moved to the US. I think I had to work a lot more to be much more clearer than I was.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have kind of an Americanized accent at this point. Right?
I know. People call me Australian all the time. But yeah, it's pretty Americanized.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple Australian friends and I can't really tell the difference. So
no,
Just kidding.
They're
Just
just
kidding.
they're just English people surrounded by snakes. What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean criminals from what I've heard.
Oof. I think I might have a few Australian listeners. So.
Sorry, just kidding. That was purely a joke.
We'll see if
That's kind of like
we'll see if it survives the edit.
Yeah, it might not. It might not.
Yeah, I mean, Podnam's been fun. I wish that I had started it maybe now rather than a couple months back. But I'm pretty proud of the stuff I did pre-Europa final. But it feels, yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's exhausting. Like you said, you don't make money from podcasting. So I've been doing it now since 2019. So I am wondering, like, how much more juice I've gotten me. Sometimes, especially now with a new kid, 2 kids, and sometimes it does seem a bit thankless, but then you have a conversation like this where you just get to talk soccer and then you're happy for a bit.
Yeah,
or listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got a good setup. You've got, the Prem show if you want to dip into it. You've got Jake and Jimmy's USL journey, which is a trip. That's a hoot. I love that. Like I feel like having it where you can just come in, appear on other people's
periodically.
Yeah.
The problem lately is the channel has existed as Rooster and the Villain since 2019. And now we've joined this website beyondthe90.com. And the podcast is supposed to go through there, but it's not always working. So right now there's the benefit of Beyond the 90 is when we post an episode, we're getting way more listens than we did on our private channel. So the relationship is good for ears and eyes and stuff. Yeah, you were saying?
No, I was just congratulating you. I think that's fantastic. I mean, I don't think there are many overnight success stories in podcasts where you don't have like a famous uncle or something. It does take time to build up and have a consistent product and show that you're committed to it. You're not just going to disappear after however long.
We've had some points where we've gone on like brief hiatuses, but my capacity is like 1 podcast a week on top of work and family and stuff. So that's kind of been the goal while we're active. But lately Jimmy and Jake talking about USL Championship, carrying the banner, and they both through podcasting. Like I know Jake just through podcasting now. Jimmy and Jake are friends. Jimmy was just visiting Jake in El Paso, like just because we talked once a week.
I saw that they were in the same room recording. That was fun.
Yeah. It's and I think I kind of bullied Jimmy into liking USL, and now he's as big of a fiend as I am. So yes, I don't know why I decided to just dedicate a large portion of my free time to soccer stuff, but I like it. So,
yeah, and you're good at it, and it's paid off.
I don't know. I don't really. I don't know.
You've created.
I can barely listen to myself talk now.
Yeah, I hate editing. I hate listening back to this. I think that you build something, you bring people together. It's a creative outlet. I mean, I know you've got some musical talents. Anybody who listens into Mike's shows will see the occasional song at the end.
The early ones, I'd say the first 150 episodes, I had like original music at the end of every single episode.
That's a lot of work.
I used to, there's some bangers on there that I was really proud of some of that stuff. And maybe even early on, not that many people listened to it.
There's one Mikel Arteta song that you sang. I can't remember. It must have been like a year and a half ago that just got stuck in my head for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think there's some catchy numbers at the end of these episodes.
It was like Mikel Arteta, why are you always crying or something? I can't remember what the tune was. Yeah, that was fun.
I remember the song, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Mikel Arteta is some like weird, anyway.
But you do these things and you bring people together, and like my brother was asking me on Saturday. I was chatting to him for the first time in 6 months. So we were catching up. We were talking about the podcast and Moco Spurs and everything, and he's like, "Where do you find time for this?" I'm like, "I have no idea." It's like in the half spaces in my life. I put in a little bit here, a little bit there, and before you know it, you've spent like 18 hours of the of the week doing something on a podcast or getting tickets for people through the OSC or something. It all adds
yeah.
up. It's not like
I
a
think
dedicated 8-hour stretch, you know.
when you enjoy something, you do it on your breaks because you like it. So like you find time. You have to endure an eye roll from your wife when you tell her at 9 p.m. I've got to do a little soccer podcast here and there. But
I actually think my wife is a little jealous. She told me the other day she was a little jealous that I have like a hobby.
yeah. I wonder if mine has ventured into obsession over hobby. Sometimes, I mean, my wife is so supportive. I can't say anything, but
I mean, what else is fandom other than obsession? You know,
right.
I think your problem is that you're like a fan of everything. Like you're like.
That's always been my problem. So I feel like I'm good at starting things, but sometimes putting structure to things can be my challenge. So
I mean, no one's gonna die from this. No one's gonna,
exactly.
like who
Yeah.
cares? I got this big mentality of like, just do it.
Right.
If it's not gonna affect anybody other than
Right.
your own time, just do it. What's the
Right.
worst that can happen? Like,
Right.
embarrass yourself, then delete it off the internet and stop it. Who
Exactly.
cares?
But I kind of like deep down, I've always just liked it. So yeah.
I always think back to a book that I read when I was like 20 by Michael Azerrad. It's called Our Band Could Be Your Life, and it's all about like hardcore punk bands in the 1980s. Just getting in a van and just like driving to a venue and just playing and like learning guitar in 2 weeks and then going off and playing a show. Like, who cares? Just go out and do it. It could be great.
Yeah.
It could be terrible. Like you could do something which is amazing, could last for people's memories for decades, or you make a Spurs podcast about Spurs podcasts. Who knows? Who knows what you could do? Well, this has been fun, Mike. Thanks for joining me. Where can people find you online if you want to be found?
Yeah, I like being found. I'm not as active on Twitter, but that's probably our biggest audience at Rooster Villain. At _footy club on Instagram. I just have an Instagram account. It originally started as my World Cup pop-up channel. And then once the pop-up was done, I turned it into Footy Club. And I post about soccer. I promote Montgomery Spurs. I promote local soccer. Like I specifically love Virginia Dream and Annapolis Blues. Just soccer stuff on there. And then LinkedIn, and then podcast Rooster and the Villain, website Beyond the 90. It is a mouthful, I guess.
Yeah, but I think it's a good name though. I think.
I mean, like all the places to find me.
Oh yeah, well, you're playing the game. That's my problem. I don't play the game. I'm like on Blue Sky, and that's it.
Well, you're like good at growing though, because on Blue Sky you have a big enough audience where it is pushing everything.
Yeah. It's helped a lot. I feel like I need to do some stretching, but I'm supposed to be closing out.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I could talk to you all night. I'm a chatter.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Mike. This has been a lot of fun. It's been good to catch up. It's been about a month. So.
Yeah. I hope people appreciated a different angle coming into the podcast, the Pottingham Podspur podcast here.
If they won't, I'll make them.
Cool.
You can find me at Poddenham Podspur on Blue Sky or at Iain.coys.social on Blue Sky. You can email the show at poddenhampodspur@gmail.com. Stay beautiful. Keep listening to and making Spurs podcasts. Cheers.